All right, everyone. So if you recall, the last two videos were from our latest food pantry hauls from Thursday. So I have the better cheddars here, the sausages, and I'm making a meal for Glenn, which we're going to use 6 sausages, and I'm going to make myself a separate meal. Now, somebody had asked if I don't eat these. I do like them. I do eat them, but I wanted a different meal for myself. So that'll be in the second meal of this video. So I'm slicing open these sausages in hopes of getting some sauerkraut juice in them. So pretty much everything from this meal is from the food pantry. The sausages we got, and then I'm also going to use some sauerkraut. There's one 15-ounce can and 3 smaller cans that we got all from the food pantry. And then I'm also going to cut one of the onions that we received from Thursday's food pantry. If you recall, we received 2 of them. And I'm also going to use the 3 potatoes that we received in the food pantry on Thursday. So for this meal, this is a complete food pantry meal. Everything is from the food pantry, and it's an idea of what you can do with some of the stuff you receive. It doesn't, it doesn't mean you don't eat good, because what we received from this pantry, we ate great. So this meal was for Glenn, and this meal was for 2 nights. So he ate 3 sausages one night and 3 the next night. And the amount of potatoes I cut in here, the 3 potatoes I used from the pantry, was perfect. He ate all the potatoes, all the onions, and just a tiny bit of sauerkraut was left. So this worked out really well. And you saw the total in the last video of what the total value was for the 2 pantries. You can consider that a grocery haul, because this fed us very well. So this is a sauerkraut and sausage dinner, and you can see I'm using Frank's sauerkraut. This is, I believe, the bigger can. Might be a 15-ounce or something like that. And then I go on to use like 3 small cans. Now, I probably could have got away with just using 2 small cans and left one for when we had hot dogs. Maybe he would want some kraut on his hot dog, or even using a sausage with those brat buns we received from the pantry. So we got 6 sausages left, and we have that 6-pack of brat buns. So that also you can use kraut with. So yeah, this turned out very well, and I knew exactly what I was going to do when I saw what we were receiving from the pantry. So this is Glenn's meal, and once I put this in the oven, and this took 2 hours, if not a little bit more. So probably because I cut the potatoes, some of the potatoes I cut a little thicker. Some were done, some were still hard after 2 hours, only because I cut them thicker. If I had cut the potatoes a little thinner, they would have been done in that 2-hour time frame. So, all right, so once I get done with this, I'm just going to cover it up, put it in the oven at 350 degrees, and that cooked for a couple hours, and I would say 2.5 hours because of those potatoes. But so yeah, this was a good meal, and he filled up on it. So now I'm just going to get this in the oven and move on to start cooking my meal while this is baking in the oven. So I just took the remaining 6 better cheddar sausages or brats and put them in a quart-sized bag, and I threw them in the freezer so whenever we're ready to eat them again, and that way they don't stay in the refrigerator and I forget about them. All right, everyone, so I am going to make my supper with these chicken thighs that we received from the pantry, and I decided I'm going to go ahead and make myself some chicken fajitas. And everything is mainly going to be from the pantry. I'm only using a couple things from what we have already. So I'm going to slice up and pretty much just marinate the chicken slices in oil and fajita seasoning. Then I'm going to slice up both bell peppers we received in the pantry and the onion. We received 2 onions. The other one I put in Glenn's dish, and I'm going to use this one. So what I'm using from our stuff are the tortillas and the fajita seasoning and the oil. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all this stuff up and get the chicken in the oil with the seasoning and cook up some fajitas. Alright everyone, so I cut up all my 2 peppers and my onion, so that's ready to go. And it's 3 pieces of chicken thighs, skinless, well mostly skinless and boneless. So I'm actually just going to cut them up in pieces, put them in a bowl with oil and fajita seasoning, and I think I'm going to make all of this on the griddle, the electric griddle. About 5 months ago I made this and it turned out really good. And I think that's how I'm going to do it again. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut up all this chicken. I won't make you watch it. And I'll be back. Okay, I've got my chicken all cut up. And I'm just going to cook it all. So this should be plenty for tonight, tomorrow. If I have leftovers after that, then we'll see what I do. If I just eat them up. Alright, so I'm going to put some olive oil in here. And this half pack of fajita seasoning. I used the other half 5 months ago when I made this. And you know me, I do a lot of stuff and cut it in half. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. Ooh, that's a lot. So hopefully it's not too strong. And just get it all mixed up in there. I throw a little bit more olive oil in there. And I'm going to use the griddle for everything. I'm going to cook the chicken first. Then I'll take that off, cook the peppers. And then once the peppers are done, I'll throw the chicken back in it, cook it up some more. And then I'll even warm my tortillas on there. Alright. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean my cutting board here. This one, I don't like to leave it laying around because it's glass. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this and get the electric griddle out, and we're going to start making this. Alright, so I got the griddle preheating to 350 degrees. Just wait for it to get hot and I'll throw the chicken on there. Alright, we're ready to get this chicken on here. Oh, my oil wants to go down to the trough. Alright guys, so the fajita seasoning smell is definitely coming out in this chicken. It shouldn't take too long to cook. They're cut up pretty small, so it shouldn't be too much longer. I'm going to take one of the thicker pieces off to test it here in just a minute or so. I turned the heat down just a tad bit so it wouldn't burn on the outside before it cooked on the inside. But yeah, you can definitely smell that fajita seasoning. So this just goes to show you, you can, depending on what you get at your food pantries, you can make a good meal out of this. So I am using mostly everything from the food pantry for 2 different meals that are going to be 2 nights each. Alright, so I just tested a piece, one of the fatter pieces, and it's definitely done. And it definitely tastes good. It has that fajitas taste in it, but it's not too strong. I thought maybe I put too much of the seasoning in it, but the taste is actually just right. It's not overbearing, and it's not too light. I can't wait to have one of these. Alright, so I'm going to clean off the griddle and oil it back up for the peppers and onion. Yeah, who knew that I would voluntarily take onion in my fajita? Hey, as long as it's cooked and soft and I'm not crunching into a hard onion, I'm okay with it. When I made this 5 months ago, I wasn't bothered by the onions at all. Alright, we're going to put a little bit more oil on that. And we're going to saute our peppers and onions now. Oops, runaway pepper. Oops, lost the onion. Alright, so I will be back once these are cooked more. And yeah, we're going to be ready to eat soon. Alright everyone, so I'm going to go ahead and add the chicken back in at this time. I'm trying to time it where Glenn's gets done before mine, so I can get him served and then not worry about mine. But it's probably going to be at the same time. I always end up doing that. I try to time it where it's off, but it ends up being on time. So yeah, this smells good. I'm going to go ahead and add this chicken back in. Who'd ever thought this would be a food pantry meal, huh? My biggest concern was making sure all the onions were soft, and it looks like they are. I cut them thinner than the peppers to make sure of that, so it looks like they're all soft now. If the peppers are a little crunchy, that's okay. Looks so good, smells so good. All right, so here is Glenn's supper, sauerkraut with sausage. You can see the sausage split open there and the cheese inside there. And yeah, so now we're going to move on to the end of mine, but here is Glenn's supper. Alright everyone, so I am ready to eat now. This is nice and done. So what I'm going to do is push this to the side. And I'm going to use this side to warm up my tortilla. And that way everything gets done on one. If you were cooking in a pan, it would be one pan. But I'm using the griddle, so I'm not using any other pots or pans to do this. Alright, so yeah, we're just going to warm up a tortilla. Let me get myself a plate. I can't wait to eat these. I've got a pretty good sized tortilla here, so I'm going to do one at a time. And I think it's going to end up being like a open-ended burrito. And I've got avocado opened up here. I'm going to throw that on there too. I'm not too worried about the stuff getting on there. That's plenty warm now. Alright, let's fill this thing up. I think I'm going to go this way. I think I'll stay there. That way I can come back if I want another one, but I definitely want to save some for tomorrow. Alright, let me get some avocado on this thing, and I'm going to put this on warm. That way it stays a little warm in case I want to come back and get some more. Alright, there it is. Chicken fajita burrito maybe? Alright, so I'm going to close this up. Actually, I'm going to scoot this back. I'm going to close this. Yep, I'm going to leave it as an open-ended chicken fajita burrito. So there it is. And that's going to do it for this video for 2 meals, 2 food pantry meals, and delicious.